Hey guys, it's Spadoodle. You can always go to davidspade.com to look at my tour dates because I bless a lot of cities in America with my hilarious stand-up act. Or you could not go to it and get on my enemy list. Up to you. Jimbo Breuer. Jim Breuer is a buddy of mine. I don't see barely ever anymore. He was on. We overlapped a little bit. We talked about that. He is such a character. My two buddies in Arizona always hit me up with the Jim Breuer clips. He's got great stand-up. He's bananas. He has a really funny story about when he worked at Sears. I think he worked in paints or something, in the paint department. And he does this elaborate story of how he called in a bomb threat. I think that's what happened. It was so nuts. But everything he says, he knows how to tell a story. I'll give him that. The guy knows how to talk. We were cracking up. We asked about, of course, Goat Boy. It took so long for him to get that on, I think. And I don't know. If this is just a lot of laughs, we were all laughing. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's more informative, but we just cracked up. So stick around, kick back, pull over, put it in park. And as you know, Dana is still not here, but we did this one right before. Last year we banked it, and we are going to get a few out, and then hopefully Dana's back, and we just keep going. We don't miss a beat. So thank you for understanding, and he appreciates everything, and he will be speaking about it and everything when he comes back. Here's Jim Breuer. Don't do anything without me. Nothing. Look at Breuer. Oh, shoot. Hold on.
Like a rock star. Always just showing up when he's ready to go.
Uh-huh. Look at Breuer. Looks like De Niro.
I'm on the road, and I literally just checked into an Airbnb.
Where are you playing? This will come out in 3 months. So let's see if we can chill.
I don't know. Someplace in Cincinnati.
You look good, though.
You look good. Damn.
You do too.
Well, I took 3 hours on this Zoom.
We look good. Look where we're at in life, and we're not fat. we're not sagging. We're not like. So guys, that's great seeing you guys. These are good, you know.
Dana, I was with my two idiot friends in Arizona, and we were leaving some deli, and we saw these guys, and they were all like old and beat up, and we were like, "Holy shit, this is really." Us in 10 years. Then they go, "Hey, Spade, we went to school with you." And I go, "Oh, shut the fuck up. Really? Is this what so I was beating the system a little bit there because they go, "We totally gave up." Mm-hmm. And I go,
well, no, there's a lot of giving up. People.
Well, let's put it this way,
Jim
though.
Started. Yeah.
My relatives, they're not photographed. They don't want pictures. They're not on Zooms. They don't see themselves. So they get in the mirror, they put their chin up, they have good lighting, and then they wonder what the fuck happened to me. You know, like if I put them on, let me get a little iPhone around you. Let me get a side angle. But you can really think you look a lot younger. Why does everybody look so old? But I represent a little further up the ladder than you two. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
let's see you. You can Wikipedia.
Well, Jim's younger than me, so you're the kid here.
Jim is still on fire. That's one thing I wanted to mention, Jim. The physicality and the energy, because I saw some of your special from last year at the Comedy Store in La Jolla. Yeah, and I was impressed because a lot of times I'll jump around out there. I've seen other comedians do a physical move, and then they're doing kind of this, but you went ballistic. At the beginning of that special, you came out super mellow, put like your phone down, and then you did like 5 minutes of fucking Jim Carrey 10x energy and balls out funny. And then I'm waiting for him going, this guy's going to have to take a seat like Frasier. But so do you work out? Is that just because you do it a lot? Because you sustained it and you didn't get out of breath. So how you're like Mick Jagger or what?
Listen, so I think it was maybe 2 years ago before I did that, where I was on stage And I thought someone got up I thought someone was aggravated by something I was saying, and they took a baseball and they threw it at me because I was hopping around and I felt my calf pop. And
no.
So I literally turned and I went, okay, who did that? And they're all looking at me like I'm crazy. And then I went, oh, no, you're not getting away with that. Like, you don't throw things. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. And then I went to walk. And I was, oh, God. And long story short, I didn't know you could blow a calf muscle. My calf muscle tore.
Wow. How high up was it? Was it where it meets the Achilles, like 2/3 down, or was it up toward your knee?
No, it was literally the fat
meaty part of your calf.
Yeah, they were like, if it was just a little bit here, we would have talking about the Achilles heel and the whole difference.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't hit that. So because of that, I stretch, and I do a lot of stretching before I get out there. I do cardio, but I do a lot of stretching before I go out there. A lot of stretching. Yeah.
Because you didn't before, right?
No.
What comedian goes out there like they're going to the NBA finals? I know. I don't do it. And then I go, but I don't move around that much.
You don't move around.
And I don't do jokes. And I just lay down.
Yeah.
And so
and you sell out. It's called Sleepy Time with Spade. Yeah. I don't know how you sell the tickets.
Love it. They love it.
Lines around the block. You'll get some, but you're doing a rooster thing. Your hands are out. I mean, it's incredibly physical. So anyway,
I grew up with that. Like, I loved Lauren Hardy. And the comedians, once Pryor came out, Richard Pryor's, I'm the same thing. I'm just a street entertainer. What I grew up on the street, I just see the story and then I elaborate the story. And then he acts everything out. Like, hey, this is what happened. Now I'm going to act it out. But yeah, I got that San Diego one. I went extremely nuts on that one.
Well, plus you're taping.
Well, it reminded me, because you can fall asleep about stand-up mentally. And when I saw that, I went, damn, commitment should never be underrated. Mm-hmm. And to your point, like Pryor with the gangsters, the one in Long Beach, his special, real commitment to the voice and to the character is extremely entertaining. Whenever I see anybody throw their voice anywhere, I go, do I do that? I better do that. But when you see it, you go, that's really entertaining. So hats off.
Thank you.
You know what you're doing up there, Mr. Breuer.
Well,
he's not walking through it, which is nice. Like you're saying, he's not just going, here's Mac. When I grew up and I was doing stand-up, Dana, before SNL, Breuer probably the same thing. Like when you go on the road and you work with a headliner, they could do the same 45 every time you see them for 10 years. And then you go, and they're just beginning, middle, end. You know it back and forth. And they walk back and then they get a drink and you go, shit. But for someone to actually think, sometimes you even catch yourself in your own joke and it gets better because you put a new spin on it because you're saying it and you go, what am I really saying here? And you get back into the story the way you thought of it and you got to say it and lean into it and go, this, and it sells it harder. You're not just saying it. And so when Jim is a little more animated or just that style, you have to bring it. It's a little trickier.
It definitely is.
You can't walk through it.
No, I can't walk through this because it's really the bad part of it for me is if that energy is not there, I don't do very. If my energy has to stay down here, I can adjust to it and then I could do, laid back storytelling. But when it's really, really most explosive for me is when I can feel their energy right out of the gate, and then that feeds me. I guess like a band, and then I start going in all different directions that I didn't really plan, and then I'm in the zone, and that's when I have so much fun. So much fun. And
because you're surprising yourself in the moment. You're just going off. Yeah.
Yes. I'm addicted to that. I don't enjoy repeating. Yeah. Like even now, it's all leading up to some specials, but there's one host section. And every night I'm hitting a section, I'm like, oh my God, I'm bored with this already. I need to find another avenue. And then I'll find another avenue like, I love it again.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It's one new bit, one new idea lifts the whole night up.
God, you try to do another bit. You're going out there and you're doing an hour and you go, I have one joke that's new and you cannot wait. You're like, here I go. We're in the middle. And then I smash it because when it fucking bombs, I put a winner before it and after and I just act like nothing happened. But if it works, the rest of the time I'm like, oh yeah, it does wake you up.
Yes, man, it feels good.
Yeah, you go, I still can think of fucking jokes. It's so hard.
I hate when something has been killing for a couple years and then just all of a sudden it starts to fade away. And you're
Horrible.
like,
Horrible.
am I not committing to it? You know, I always tell young comedians, I mean, if you see someone run over something in a street, you come up to your apartment, you're talking to your friends, you want to have that kind of commitment and energy. You get right to it. You're very clear. There's this lady driving a car, this and that. And then months later, you just unravel it and you don't really, but your energy is still up there, man.
Well, thank you.
When did you? Let's get to the old.
Wait, Jim once said he loved something. What?
What'd you love?
No, I loved. I got excited when I saw you guys hook up together and start doing this. I thought that was really fascinating, interesting. I was like, oh, because there's a billion podcasts now. So hey, we're going to talk about comedy again. Oh God. So I was at the club. All right. But then when I saw
and the guy didn't pay me, shut the fuck up.
No, we agree. We just kind of went, I guess we'll try this. We started hanging out in LA when I moved back down a lot. And then we just sort of said, let's try it. And we didn't really have a plan, obviously.
But that's the best part of it. I mean, even when I started, like, we're able to just, who cares? Because at the end of the day, you can go back on stage. We're already established in that world. All three of us are. So who cares? There's I won't say who it is, but there's a gargantuan, at least 1 or 2 comics on there. Nobody's watching the podcast, but doesn't stop the human being from selling out 18,000 seats somewhere. But this just opens a whole new door for us where in the years ago, we didn't have this.
And human beings are fascinated by anything that feels authentic. I used to think it doesn't have to be funny every second, but this is a new thing. I'm glad I'm around long enough to like, okay, this is a job that I have. A little side gig.
Did you feel any point you didn't want to get vulnerable? Like on the podcast? I don't know how vulnerable the two of you get, like how truthful you guys get.
Dana gets like more.
I would imagine. Yeah.
There's different kinds of vulnerability. There's stuff that maybe would involve other loved ones. Wouldn't do that, but you can ask me anything you want about anything.
No, that's the way I mean. That's what I feel like. I over the years have found out the more vulnerability I put out there, the more honesty, even if I think people are like, oh, I don't care. I'm at the point. I don't care what you know about me. I'm going to tell you everything. And this one's bad. I don't care.
Tough
I don't
shit.
care.
Yeah.
You got nothing to hold on me anymore.
Like it. My problem, Jim, is I'm like a tough guy, a hard ass athlete. That's my persona. So people don't think anything could ever get to me.
Impenetrable.
Because I'm so...
You can't get... Yeah.
I'm like the Schwarzenegger of comedy. And so when they see me, they go, nothing's wrong. There's nothing else other than toughness.
After about 100 of these, I realized
I'm the Lenny Dykstra of... well, that's not a good one.
Lenny Dykstra.
Nails. That's
I don't know about that. If you
I was getting just to nails. That's all. Other than that,
how about a podcast called "There's No There"? Just so people know, there's nothing. Don't keep. So the name of your podcast is Brew
Universe.
I got 2 others for you. Ready?
Brewniverse, and it's on YouTube. And is it also audio or is it?
Yeah.
I got one. If you interview people about their feelings, one's called Brew Who, and the other one is called The Brew Crew.
Yes,
with you and a couple guys.
I like that.
That's too easy. Well, we'll go back to
and
Brew
then
Who.
And then a fitness segment called Hit the Gym.
Wow,
why that doesn't have brew in it?
I think you guys.
No, but
it's got to hit the gym. I like that. Well, Dave, I feel honored because one of them is Brew Crew. Ooh. Like we started a whole Brew Crew section, shirts, blah blah blah. But the other one, the Brew, would you say
Brew Who?
Brewhoo, where it's sharing
Will make you cry.
feelings.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that
Make
a
you
lot.
cry. Yeah.
You take it and run with it and
Yes.
start
Thank
the
you.
shirts and hats.
Do I owe you guys any?
No,
Is this
no.
okay? Thank you.
No, you're good, dude.
There is a little envelope in that hotel room and some per diem.
I got you.
$200.
I got you.
Jim, I don't know if you're ever in LA, but when I drive on PCH coming onto the 10, there's an old Sears. It says you used to work at Sears.
Yeah.
I used to love Sears, and now I'm like, this building I think is toast. I don't know what's going on with it.
Well, they're closing all of them, and
Are they? Is that because of the massive robberies, or did they skip Sears?
I have no clue. I just know
Target and other ones kind of beat them up a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I think would
Yeah.
happen. But did you know? Guys know Freddie Armisen?
Yeah.
So me and
Fred Armisen, yes.
me and Freddie graduated from the same high school, and Freddie and I used to work at Sears
I love it.
in Valley Stream, and he was like, "Dude, Freddie he used to have a mohawk. That's before mohawks were cool. Like, he had a
I would love a
mohawk,
mohawk.
and he had combat boots he would wear, and he had,
What?
yes, and he'd walk around with like these guys that had dead Kennedy jackets on, like, oh,
And he worked in the lawnmower department, or what?
he worked in. I want to say he worked in the auto department, but only as like a sales guy at the clinic. And
Wow.
yeah. You know, I don't know, Bob. You know it, but when I was there, I did a big bomb threat, which I made a bit, but it was real. Like, I cleared the entire store because they thought. Yeah, I swear to God. So I'm sure that both of you, especially Dana, have done so. When I worked there, I'm like 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I would call other departments as characters all day long.
That's funny.
Right. So I mean, I have a
What a
dangling
horrible
cross
employee.
earring. I'm wearing my Judas Priest denim jackets. This is where I'm at. And there's a big fat guy that worked in toys. And so whenever the Cabbage Patch would come out, he'd have all these Jamaican women come in and pissed off because there were no black Cabbage Patch stuff. So they're like, "Why are we waiting for 5 hours?" So you'd have and that's when I'd call, and you have to pick up the phone. And I'd pick them up like, "Hey, I need you to go look for Wilson basketball, and don't put me in a hole." So anyway, this one day,
Stupid.
I swear on my kids' lives, this is a true story. So I work in paint. I don't know anything about paint. I know nothing about it. People would come look at me like, "Hey, man, we want to paint the kitchen." I'm like, yeah, I would stain it. Like, I don't know what the hell does people. so this guy,
You gotta sand it. What?
right. So there's a guy in hardware, and I could see him. He's right down the aisle, and I walk in his department, like, "Hey, man, I'm Jim, working paint, blah, blah, blah." And he gets really snippy. He's like, "Hey, you know what, man? Stay in your department. You look high all the time. And,
Ooh.
you don't know anything about what you're saying." So
He's overheard one conversation with you with paint.
this is 86, 7-ish. And all I remember, we had a big ordeal going on with Libya, right? It was all everywhere. He shot missiles at a plane, and we got to kill Muammar Gaddafi. So I call up. I could see this. I could see him, and he picks up the phone, and I say, "Hello." He's all professional. "Yeah, it's John, Sears Hardware, Valley Stream. How may I help you?" And I said, "This is," I'm doing the whole accent. "This is Muammar Gaddafi. I've sent 6 Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears Hardware department." And I'm going on and on. I'm doing the noises, and I said, "Long live paint," right? And I hang up. So I swear to God, right? So I go into the break room, because to go in the break room, you had to go through the paint. the doors for everyone would come out through paint. And so I'm in the break room and I'm hanging out for like 20 minutes and like, let me go back out there. Nobody's out there. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So, like there's no customers, there's no people. I go in the toys and the candy and then the security guy comes out and he's like, hey man, you got to get out of here. So what's going on? The new guy got a bomb threat. What? What do you mean you got a bomb threat? He's like, yeah, man.
You don't even remember 20 minutes ago.
Right? I said, that was me. I said, I was Muammar Gaddafi. I said, I was setting missiles. What the fuck? I said, I ended with long live paint. Yeah. And he's like, oh man, well, we had to evacuate this and the mall. I'm like, the mall? You're fucking evacuating the mall? So this is Valley Stream, Green Acres Mall. Long story short, I had to talk with cops and they all laughed. I had to meet with the head guy of Long Island. Of all the paint. And he sits me down and he's got a suit and tie and I come walking in there and he's like, so tell me what happened that day at the paint department. And I'm like, I should have been doing more paint. I apologize, but all my stuff was done. I got all the sales ones up in the front display, and it was slow that night. So I keep things light. And I called him and I said I was Muammar Gaddafi and I sent missiles to hit Sears hardware. And I ended by saying long live paint. And dude, this guy goes, all right, why don't you just sell more paint and we do a little less phone calls? And I keep my job? Like, yeah. That guy quit after 5 days because everyone would walk by his department going, look out, there's missiles coming.
Oh, John?
Eventually he just, yeah. Well, dude, he was in his 40s. And I'm sorry, if you're working Sears hardware and you're 40, like something happened. You know what I mean? Like something, he's either living in the basement, like this bad divorce, something's going. You ain't working Sears hardware.
And by the way, it's Muammar Gaddafi calling directly. He doesn't have some guy call to threaten.
Yes,
that's a red flag right there.
Muammar Gaddafi's calling the hardware
from Libya all the way to a Sears hardware department.
Valley Springs.
I'm going to call 5,000 tonight. You're the first.
You tell the people of the hardware and the tool bits that they're going down.
You tell Prescott, Nevada that I'm coming for them. You spread it around.
This is straight from the Dutch brothers with paint. Is that something?
And you tell the department store Stearns next to you, they are next.
I'm going after Radio Shack.
Chess King.
Every Radio Shack is going to be gone by morning. My name is Gratna Baki.
No more Chess King. You will never buy 3 suits for $99. Ever again.
Food court. Goodbye.
Baskin Robbins must die.
I have no problem with Panda Express.
Goodbye, Panda King. All of you. China Walk.
So long, Sbarro.
Tata Tater Junction. That sort of made sense.
But
what?
So yeah, I know Freddie was. I think Freddie was one.
Did he get caught in the rubble, or what happened with that? So here, I don't even get the story. I go, so no bombs. The bomb didn't hit.
No.
Okay.
No Gaddafi. No bomb. Just a joke.
Just a joke.
Some people just go, but there must have been some kind of bomb. It was some threat. No, it was really made up. But something got damaged. No.
No.
Nothing did. No, it was all made up.
Yep.
That's good, though, Dana. We stumbled into Sears because I love Sears, and I used to go to the Wish book and get all my...
I always loved Sears.
The Wish book for Christmas. You know, you go through it and circle stuff, and then Santa would get
The only thing is my brother, I had 3 older, the brother got the Schwinn Stingray monster green.
Score.
My parents ran out of money, so nothing against Sears, but I got the Sears front loader. And it was just such a downgrade from the Schwinn, but that I recovered.
Jim's like, I knew a guy in bikes at Sears.
Jim had a great Schwinn Stingray as a kid.
I had a Schwinn Scrambler.
Oh.
And it had
multiple gears?
It had mag wheels.
No way.
All my life. And this is when I realized
you're lying. There's no way.
Absolutely. And I'm right around my neighborhood, all like, I got a Schwinn Scrambler with black mag wheels. Eat it. It was stolen.
What?
That night out of my garage. That's the neighborhood. It was like, yeah, no, we don't show off here. Take it.
Oh, you showed off. Oh, you puffed up.
Riding through the neighborhoods.
What's up? Like
I almost got my bike stolen, but
new
my friends and
sled.
We went into a hardware store and we shoplifted bike locks, and then came out and locked up our bikes. True story.
That's a good. Well, there was also a big racket going at Sears. Like you go to it was like gangster mafia. I swear on my life, there's a guy, I think his name was the Benedetto, and he'd be in class. He'd be like high school. The Benedetto would be like, Breuer, you know anyone wants a VCR? And VCRs then were like, oh shit, you can score a VCR. He's like, you're gonna go into hardware. You're gonna buy like a wrench for like $1.99, and you're gonna buy a garbage pail. The garbage pails you got to pick up down by the loading dock. You ask for Vinny, you'll have that. The VCR will be in that, but I got to get you $40 by Friday. Oh my God, are you serious? They were.
Dude, that's a score.
It was a huge score. These guys were just shit. Oh man.
I just have to say that because you're standing and moving to the camera, it's like you're making your own feature film.
It's so
like funny. You're going into a close up and your face is a little distorted because your chin is down. So you're totally this weird character in a movie. Just then, I was going, "Damn, what is going on?" It's like, hey, I won't say to you this, motherfuckers.
Jim, this guy in my 7th grade, and he was such a little puss, but he was such a tough talker, and he goes, hey man, where you gonna? I go, I'm thinking I'll move. One time he busted me because he goes, what are you doing this summer, Spade? I go, we're thinking of heading to Calif. I tried to be fucking cool. I said Calif. He goes, you fucking tried to say Calif and not say the whole word to be cool. And I go, no, I was gonna say California. He goes, no, you weren't. He told everyone. But he was such a little puss, and he walked around and he said, so no one would bother him. He goes, I'm tied into the Bonanno family. And it was like a big real mafia family. And everyone was like, holy shit. No one questioned, why is a 7th grader working for the Bonanno family? But we all stayed away from him because that scares people.
Dude, I grew up around all those bananas. The
bananas.
There is nothing.
It's funny.
We'd be playing roller hockey, and in the middle of the game, we're like 9 years old, 11 years old, a bunch of us. And I remember there's always a couple kids like, did you hear what happened to Uncle Nicky? The government arrested him for taxes or something. And then I never met, there was at least 3 kids that I knew, and their fathers would always get arrested, but no one really knew what they're and you don't know what's going on. And then the older you get, you're like, oh shit, my God, their parents are tied in the mafia. How do you know that? They come from Little Italy? I mean, what do you think? They're fucking doing politics there? Like, what do you yeah, they were they found a guy behind around my street, this little bar I used to go into, Kate Saloon. And in there, it was only, I think we were going there for like a year, and we'd sneak in there, and the cops are all out there like, what's going on? They found a guy in cement and a bunch of boxes. Like, what? Holy shit. Yeah, I watched all that around me. Dude, even when you start making it too, I'm sure both you guys were approached by many type of people. They all come out of the woodwork.
You know what I get, Dana, is a guy will come up to me to this day, and he'll like come up to me at a restaurant, and there's some girls near us, and he walks up, he goes, "Hey man, what's going on? My name's Mikey, fucking blah blah blah. I'm all cool, like." And then he turns me 2 inches and he goes, "Hey girls, my buddy Spade, blah blah. I just want to say hi." And I'm like, "Wait, I just met Mikey literally 4 seconds ago." But it's an interesting move. Like he's my man. And some people are middlemen. Like they go, "Hey, you should come to this thing," and then they'll tell the place they're bringing me, and then he's the middleman getting attention because he's like the guy that got me in. But he goes, "Hey, these guys want you to come," and then I go, and then he goes, "Hey, they take care of your dinner," and then he goes. Then I see him with the waiter going, "Just pay for his dinner." Like he's a fucking on TV. And I'm like, oh, this wasn't even set up ahead. This is just a guy, a flim flam man, bullshitting his way through town. But there's a lot of those. There's more of those than real people.
No, you're right.
So how were you in high school, Jim? I mean, were you popular? Were you a stud? Were you a nerd?
No. I was way too shy. I wasn't a stoner yet. I didn't try pot until my senior year, right before I graduated. But that really didn't kick in until I was like 20 years old, 21 years old. But high school, I was really quiet, unless I was the back of the room kid. So I'd always go for the back of the room. And once I was back of the room, if I can disrupt this guy and get this guy on my team or this chick on my team, and then we'd have, I'd draw little cartoons, try to crack up this one. But it wasn't until we did a sketch night. And And basically, this kid, one of my best friends, was like, "Jim, you got to do sketch night." I'm like, "I'm not doing no sketch night." He's like, "No, man, this is different. They're really cool." I'm like, I don't want anything to do with theater. Say, no. So they basically, like a Cosby bit, our school, each grade had to do a thing from the Bible, even though we weren't a school of faith, right? So my friend writes up pretty much, and he swears he had no clue Cosby did it, was the Cubits bit. God goes, "Noah, I need you to, build a bank. Cubit, what's a cubit?" He goes, but all at that time, all I would do is all day imitate professional wrestlers running into the locker, smashing their heads. And the other thing I would do is talk like Eddie Murphy, non-stop, all day. So he said, "Do it as Eddie Murphy." So I finally agreed to it. And this is now that I really think of it, like I could really get today's world. Oh my God, they would have me. He's racist. He needs to be canceled. So I came out as Moses, but as Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy being Moses. And all I remember was,
well, I got to hear this.
Yeah.
So I came out and I was like, "What? Your mother?" So I'm doing all that. And the place explodes. I've never
killed that hard since.
Not really. I've been trying to.
It's the most memorable, though.
Maybe I should do all my stuff that I'm doing now. Just do it as Murphy back in '85.
Yeah, that's funny.
But the next day in school, I swear to God, it's like a movie. So all the hot chicks are like, "Oh my God, you're so funny." All the guys I always were intimidated by, like the jocks, and they were like, "Bro, we got to hang out, man. You're a pisser. I never known you were such a pisser."
It's like a teen movie. Everything's going perfectly the next day.
It was Dave. If you wrote the script, you were it's a little too predictable.
Too corny.
Really,
yeah,
it really was that. And then the next night I had to do it again. They were chanting. And I was already on the verge of like, I'm going to be a stand-up. I'm doing it. But this this
Mhm.
put me over the edge. That was like, oh yeah, I'm going after this.
Did you swear at the high school thing or no? Did you
No.
say motherfucker? Yeah, but
No,
you
no,
did
no,
the-
no.
Okay,
No,
I'm just
no, no,
curious.
no.
You did it without swearing. That's pretty
But
good.
I said your mother a lot. I'm like, yeah,
That-
what'd you say? And I was doing this with my hands for some reason.
like
I'm
gang
what'd you
signs.
say?
and-
What is that? Your mother. Ah.
Your mother. Your mother was enough back then. We didn't need
Yeah.
crude language.
Yeah, you can
Right.
hint at it. Now it's got to be
Right.
nail on the head.
Yeah, high school. If you can be cool, that's fucking spreads like wildfire. That's great.
Yeah, so but otherwise, high school, I really wasn't. I was mostly quiet. I grew up on a street. We never had to leave the street. I mean, we had chicks. We had everyone who I still hang out with is from that street. We're all within 2-3 years of each other. It was.
Huh.
I really, to me, that was the greatest. Everyone knew each other. Everyone looked after each other. It was like brothers and still is to this day. So
But was
I
that
wasn't
near,
into-
where were you? What city?
Valley Stream.
You keep saying this fake name, but where is that?
What state?
Oh, I'm sorry, New York. New York.
Thank
So
you. It
it's Long
sounds
Island.
very. It sounds
Long Island.
California. Long Island.
Long Island. And
Long
yeah,
Island.
so we grew up where Valley Stream, the end of the street, almost like the movie 8 Mile. The end of the street was all black. We were the beginning of all white. So you had this racial tension, and we weren't really allowed to walk on their side. They were like, get back on that side. White boy, like, oh, sorry. And then if they would come down the street, we'd all just stare. Like, oh my God. Like, what? So
You don't do
That's-
shit, you pussy.
what's that?
You don't do anything. When they
No,
walk-
we were scared to death. Are you kidding?
Yeah, what were you going to challenge the neighborhood?
Yeah, yeah, we're
with
like,
a,
oh
with
my
a
God,
car,
they're walking down
with
the
a
street.
popsicle
Like, oh.
stick you sharpened.
But were you friends with any black
You
guys then
guys
or
are
no?
in trouble now.
I'm going to
Quick,
sharpen this
quick,
popsicle stick. It's like a knife, man.
You roll a hula hoop at them. Take
Go
that.
get some dirt bombs.
Oh,
So you're-
dirt
yeah.
clods, yeah.
So then you're friends with these guys still because of that bond of that street.
Yeah. Yeah. They come to
30s.
every time.
Yeah.
Have either one of you played the Paramount in Huntington, New York?
Yes. Is that when they give you a brick afterwards?
Yes. Yes.
It's a
yes.
fucking 40-pound brick. I'm flying out the next day.
I'm on
And I have
Southwest,
to
guy.
take it. It's got my name on it. And we go like a few blocks and the driver goes, just pull over. So they're somewhere. But great club. Very hot, hot room.
Dave, they are hands down the greatest people towards artists. I think it's one of the greatest venues
They
in
are.
the whole country.
They are.
The
Mhm.
downstairs, they have that whole hip private room and all that
Mhm.
jazz. But I play there like every 3-4 months, and the kids that I grew up with, they always meet me there, and then we go downstairs in the room, and it's like being a bunch of knuckleheads back being kids again.
Do you ever hear this though with relatives or friends that come to your shows? Backstage they go, no matter how many times I hear those bits, they're still funny to me.
Such a burn.
Yeah.
I 'cause- tell
It's
I
such
tell you,
a
I've
quiet
heard that
burn.
thing you did 35 times. I still laugh.
I actually that's based on me, I think. And you're like, no. I tell everyone that's about me, right? No.
So how did these friends? How
No,
did
it's about it's not you. Go ahead.
How did they respond when you started to get really successful? I mean, first you must have exploded in the clubs or became a headliner at some point, right? Started to make good money. I'm assuming you weren't a 10-year tortured guy. It seems like with your skill set and attitude,
No.
pretty quickly no one
Yeah.
wanted to follow you, put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So that started 89 to about 93.
Mhm.
And that's when so Long Island, then my parents did the move. They went to Florida. I moved down there and I kind of lost my whole direction moving down there. I
Mhm.
couldn't really afford New York on my own. So I went down there and then I reamped and I started going to comedy clubs. So it's 89 started. Couple months
In Florida, you started. In
Yeah.
Florida. Okay.
Yeah. And then that led to being on the road. I can't follow this guy. This kid's a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And that was I gotta say, that was the greatest time ever. Like just staying in crappy condos and listening to like, I've been doing comedy like 10 years and you hear all the story. It was a lot of fun. And then
did you ever have novelty acts where you show up at the comedian's condo and like the ventriloquist took the headliner's bedroom?
Oh yeah.
Can't do that.
Because for people who are listening, there's a comedian's condo and there's usually the headliner gets the master bedroom.
For
but
sure.
If the clown showed up early and then you're like, well,
why is there a juggler in the master?
Yeah, exactly. The novelty acts. They had we had a puppet named Chuck Wood. And he didn't want you to look at it. He don't touch Chuck. I mean, it really was like a human being to him.
Prop
said, it's a piece of wood, fuckface. So anyway, go ahead. I'm only walking my way up to your SNL thing and trying to figure out the timeline of that where you found yourself as a performer.
So stand up brings me back to Long Island. Now I'm getting the city clubs. I landed my first TV show pretty quick, but it was an all urban black show, Uptown Comedy Club, and they filmed it. It was the real poor man's
Apollo
in living color.
Was it on UPN? Do you remember what UPN was?
I think I remember that show.
No, I think
MTV.
No, Dave. No, actually, MTV took the show. What's his name? Took the show. He told me. He told when I saw it on. What's his name?
Herzog?
Oh God.
Robert Townsend?
No. So it's filmed in Harlem. It was a great show. It was fun.
But you're doing sketches on it.
We're doing sketches.
Okay.
And now I'm doing the clubs at night. I'm doing like 7-8 sets on the weekends, and I'm in every club, and I'm feeling like I'm a badass.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a huge development deal, and then another development deal. And then me and Chappelle were launched to spin off of a Tim Allen show, The Home Improvement.
Oh.
And we filmed, I was on the cover of TV. God,
shit.
I was buying leather pants.
Yeah.
I was like, this was happening. And the second episode, the commercials were on. It was called Buddies. We were following Home Improvement, and they fired me.
What?
Right before? Yeah, they fired me the second episode, right before the premiere. So I had my childhood friends out.
Oh.
You want to talk about traumatizing, right? So I just remember I just got told, like, hey man, they let you go. Like, but the commercials are on. Like, I don't how's like they're still airing the commercials. Like, what the fuck is going on? And that was my first big taste of Hollywood.
Gross.
All right. So now, so now I go to my room, and thank God my best friends were there that I grew up with, because they bring it back to blue collar. Because I'm like, oh my God, the whole Hollywood world, they're gonna be fucking angry. And they already crushed my mini bar, and it's like 1 p.m. Like, hey man, you're right. Something happened. It's, fucking, they fired me. Like, what do you mean they fired you? Like, they fired me. So there's no more doing it. And they think for a second, and my one friend goes, well, I got a fucking limo for tonight, so I guess I'm paying and we're going out because you ain't got a fucking job. And he really just made it so simple. Like, fuck it, you ain't got a job. Let's go hang out. And I went to the Improv on Melrose. And I remember the comedian, you think they're all your friends. You're like, hey man, I heard what happened. Yeah. I'll never forget this. So,
oh no,
your character that got fired, can you tell me about? Because I'm auditioning tomorrow. I'm like, you mother.
Why? Blood in the water.
God damn.
What should I do different to get the job you got fired from? You have any hints?
Wow. So then that led to another pilot.
I can't believe Rob
fired
Schneider
him.
would say that to you. That's what shocks me. No, I'm kidding, Rob. He's a friend of ours.
Give me some tips.
I get fired from another one. I'm sorry, I didn't get fired. The main character gets fired. It was Clerks from the movie Clerks.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And they fire, what's his name? Kevin Smith. They fire Kevin Smith. So now
they
like,
fire the guy who invented
Who's running these shows? Good
How
God.
do you get rid of Kevin Smith? And so the Frenchie something from Third Rock from the Sun was on
French
the show.
Stewart.
And yes, Frenchie Stewart was part of it. He was a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
It gets picked up and then it gets dropped. And then I'm developing. And then SNL is like, hey, will you audition? And on my life, I said, no way am I doing that show. And like, why? I'm like, no, because I saw this one and this one and this one go into that show and they came out miserable, dark human beings. I don't know what's going on there. I already hate the industry. I've already seen enough. And so the process to get on, which by the way, Lauren loves you, Dana. Loves you.
I love
Dave,
Lauren.
I'm sure he loves you too. But
I was about to say, like, you don't have to lean so hard. You started to say a D, and I started to look at the camera a little harder, and then you go,
David leaned into it.
No, he loves you guys. He loves.
No, he loves
you guys.
Dana. Fine. He used to bounce Dana on his knee at read through. I remember. It's fine.
Yeah, no, because so it was a process, and then once I saw it was a new cast, and I met Will at the club. I was the last guy hired on that cast. Dave was Spade was still on there.
I did a year overlap with you, correct?
Yes.
And Will Ferrell started. Was it Sherry O'Terry?
Yep.
Sherry, Chris Kattan, and your
David Koechner,
Daryl
Nancy
Hammond.
Walls,
Yeah.
Daryl
So they were
Hammond.
sort of replacing not only Dana,
That
because he
was
had
a
just
big
gone, but
reset.
yeah, because
Huge
Farley left,
reset.
Adam left.
Yeah.
It was replacing that whole bunch. Yeah, and I hung a year too long.
Dave, do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember the? So we for us, I'm like, oh my God, this is really happening. Now we're really going to be on TV. You, Dave, we were on the bleachers and we're giving a press conference. All right.
Okay.
Norm is right next to me. You are one level down. And to be honest with you, I'm starstruck by you and I'm starstruck by Norm.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm like, oh my God. And Norm came up to me. Hey, man, you're funny. And they're going, Marcy Klein's going, Norm, look at the goddamn cigarette. He's like, I'm not done yet. And he's smoking at this press conference. And then he finishes it and they asked me a question. And Lauren goes, no, it was Warren Littlefield. And Warren Littlefield goes, Jim Breuer. He goes, Jim Breuer, you're like the New York guy. You grew up here. And what's it like being perhaps the real New Yorker and your whole life watched Saturday Night Live, and now here you are, part of this new cast? And I just simply went, I didn't watch Saturday Night Live growing up. And you went, wrong answer. You said something like that.
Oh my God.
But you said it like under your breath. But I could tell it generally made you laugh, and I didn't know what that meant. And then, like, he tried to recover, and I just knew at that moment, I'm like, oh no!
Oh, because Marcy came up and strangled you.
Oh my God, that was a bad answer. And then they tried to recover and said, I said, oh no, it was because I was a kid and I wasn't allowed to stay up that late. Said, surely when you were older. And I went, no, man, I was out Saturday night. So
boy.
Fuck, I'm so stupid. What the
Jesus.
fuck? So stupid. Oh my God, Breuer.
They go, do you know where you are right now? And you're like, I don't even know what the fuck is going on. Where am I?
I was like, I just got fired from this. And that. I don't know what's going
Am
on.
I fired again?
Yeah, Kevin Smith is gone. Like, come on. I don't fucking ask me these questions. Ask Will a question. He's happy.
So you came in with all those people. Now, hosted maybe 95 or 96, but
96.
I remember you as just a powerhouse. Because on the show I did, the Joe Pesci show, which we should talk about, and then the madness and silliness and the verbal, I think we talked about it when I was there, of Goat Boy.
GB.
Goat.
That thing was like, those two bits were killer as far as when I hosted. I think I came on the Pesci show. Was I Ross Perot or some shit? I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
With Pesci. And then Goat Boy. So anyway, I showed up a year later, and it looked like you were, just doing. You were hot.
I felt good, but you brought, like, when you came on. I mean, we started off with Tom Hanks.
Whoa!
And then that's where the Goat really got launched.
Did you do first show with Tom Hanks? Your first show?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And we did the Goat. And to be honest with you, that character, I pitched it as a guy with Tourette's. That's all. I said, I want to do a guy, and he gets nervous. He gets nervous when he's with chicks, and he sings, and he starts, a little here. And then Tom Giannis, who was a writer, waited months, and he finally came to. I already forgot about it. No one cared about this character. And he comes to me. He goes, hey, I think I got a great idea. So I've been thinking about the Goat. I went, that was 8 months ago. He's like, no. So what if it was an experiment? Because, we're in the Middle East a lot. So they're hydrating, and they have to get up in the mountains, but our soldiers can't do it. So they get a goat and a person and the military, but it doesn't work. So they just really sing about it a lot. And then, so they don't know what to do with this guy who loves the 80s. And so a VH1 gives them a show. I'm like, are you serious? That's the craziest shit I've ever heard. And they insisted on doing it, and I was pissed. Like, this is so stupid, and it murdered. It was just confusing to people.
You had goat ears. You were like a scientific hybrid.
I hated the outfit. I didn't want the.
But the thing about it, Jim, is that as an audience member watching it, it's like I don't know how long you're going to bray as a goat, or when you might hit a little one. So there's an improvisational quality that the audience can feel. You as a performer are in tune with that from all that stand-up of like, oh, they like it. I'm going to hit one here, and I'm going to do a long one here. So it had this thing that was pretty electric.
Everyone's just waiting for it. Then you go a long time without it, and everyone's like, and then you hit it again. Yeah. It is.
Well, here's something you don't know, and I owe you an apology, and you don't even know why.
Oh, okay. Accepted.
Yes. No. So first of all, you came on, for a lot of us, especially me, I was like, oh shit, like this is wow. And Lorne was already prepping the table, like, we're gonna have, when Dana comes here, it's gonna be like, he was already setting the table. You guys have no clue how this is going down, right? So I never had anyone improv, right? And by the time you came on, I started feeling like, I'm starting to have those Tuesday night dinners.
Okay, you're in the cool group.
Right, so I'm having Tuesday night dinners. I'm like, oh shit,
Jim. The branzino was fresh. Yes.
Give it a try.
Right, and you came on and absolutely murdered. You were Wham. The other
George Michael.
George Michael's. Yeah,
I did Faith.
George Michael, and you were murdering. And I would like I look back in time like, God damn it, I wish I just listened and watched more and then fed off your energy. Where during that, you're crushing, and then I would do something, but then you'd improv, and I'd be like, you're stepping on my shit. And I try to recover. And there was even one where I put like an angry guard. I was like, and I was like,
Well, I was
"This
George
fucker."
Michael, and who were you?
Goat Boy.
Yeah,
right?
like whatever.
We were. Oh, is that mashup? Yeah, God, I remember now. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
George Michael and the Go Boy. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
you were so funny at it, but it was the first time that we really had someone, what I would say is super professional and like so in the element of live. Like we're still learning. Dave already left. Spade already left. So now we're figuring out, like, we stick to the lines. We don't go too far off it, but you brought this whole, and I just wish at that moment I understood that even better, because that sketch probably would have went to even a monstrosity level if I was willing to play as much as your expertise.
But you probably also thought you would get in trouble.
I did.
Well, but just for a second, I mean, I had done 140 shows. Then I'm coming back. This was your third show, fourth.
This was the second season.
Second season.
Maybe my third real sketch.
Yeah, and I felt that I needed 60 or 80 shows for the audience to kind of discover me and for me to get more confident. I mean, in another level, I mean, I got more confident, but you were still early on. So, I just thought you were a kindred spirit, that you were playing with rhythms. I thought your Pesci was great.
Thank you.
And it was just a really funny take on Joe Pesci. I don't know. I thought you were just a completely kindred spirit to me as a performer.
I felt that way. And I really admired like both you guys. Like whenever you guys would just like, Dave once in a while would come up and he would just interact with me backstage. And like, Dave just talk to me. He thinks I'm cool. He didn't, you had no clue you had that effect. But people always say, how was your experience there? And I always say, I loved being a part of the whole thing. And between you and I would have loved to even still be on there. I wanted to be the guy who stays on there for like 8 years. And then the summer times makes killer movies. I wanted to make Lauren proud. I wanted to, and don't always go that way. I started having, with Fred Wolf, who is,
our friend, both of us.
Oh, Fred, great.
He was a tremendous ally, and Steve Korn and those guys. And then once they quit, it was a lot more difficult.
You were on your
after
own.
that. Yeah. And it was and they told me that. They literally, I swear to God, I'll never forget. I didn't understand what they meant. And Fred came up to me and said, Jimmy B, you're my guy, but I gotta be honest with you, I'm leaving, man. I'm gonna go help Spade. And I said, you're on your own, bro. It's gonna get tough. I didn't understand what that meant.
Politically, you didn't have anyone backing you?
I had no clue what that meant.
And then
I learned it.
We've heard a version of this story from other cast members. Go ahead.
And then when Steve Korn left, he was the last guy. Like, I didn't know you can go to Lauren and plead your case. And I think it was my third episode, and I had enough with certain individuals, not cast writers. And it was really, I realized I was fighting egos, which you can't fight. And it was extremely frustrating. It made me very angry. And I remember that night, it was Matthew Broderick. And the person came in and said, hey, I know it worked during the dress show, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do the other thing. I was like, you motherfucker, you want that sketch on so goddamn, you fucking. So I said, whose decision was that? Lauren. I said, well, then I'll go talk to Lauren. He went, no. And I went, no. I'm fucking talking to Lauren, and I want to hear from him. We're not doing this shit because I had enough of your shit. You've been nonstop. And then I knew at that moment, it's like those memes. This is the moment when Jim knew he fucked up. And I got a call that summer from an NBC executive. And he's like, Jim, I don't tell anyone. I can get fired for this. But what happened between you and so and so? I don't know. He's like, well, they're trying to oust you right now. I'm like, what? They're like, oh yeah, they're zoning in. These guys want you out. I'm like, really? I say, you know what? I don't want to be there if that's the way it's going to be. I really don't want to be there. I'm smoking pot all the time, trying to numb myself. I'm becoming angry. I've seen enough. I've seen enough. I was also traumatized by the Farley situation. So I saw enough on both sides of the curtain. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have some kids. I'm gonna walk away for a little while. This is I'm not made for this. I'm really not made for this. Not in this style of environment.
Sure.
Where it's that hardcore show business. But I really wanted to be there for, like, I loved the show. I loved showing up on Thursdays to watch the band. I loved hanging out the bands. I would watch the other sketches. I would cheer our cast on.
Yeah, you're a good cheerleader. You are.
I fucking love it, man. I cheer for everyone. I really don't. I'm not in competition with anyone. But so that was my tenure. But I also realized as life went on, like, Lorne he's like I'll use the word mobster, where I would go to, they're like, hey, we want to meet with you. And the first thing they'd always say, so how are you with Lorne? I'm like, I don't know. This is a reality TV show. Like, does it really matter right now? I'm like, yeah, I think it was good. I think we ended okay. And it did. And the last thing Lorne said to me was, Jim, you're too nice for this industry. If you ever want to do anything, I'm your producer. And I said, thank you, Lorne. And that's how we, and I see him at like the 40th or something like that. But
wow.
I always had a deep admiration for him, because I also understand his view, where he's watching people and bringing them to a place, and some people get frustrated and they think they need more attention. But I don't know. I even just having kids and dealing with that with a little staff here and there, I don't know how you do that with entertainers like us that are just nonstop. Right. You're like, oh my God,
what is it about that show? I mean, the people we've interviewed, some of them have said similar kind of stories. One cast member said, I don't really know why I left or what really happened, but there was a sea change. A couple of writers left, and these are very successful people. And suddenly it got kind of tilted. But none of us ever get that experience out of our heads just because it's 8H, it's New York City, it's live, it's you'll never get it quite out of it. But I just think, yeah, you're such an organic sketch player. Like, it just fits you like a glove. And it's too bad you didn't have all you needed was one writer who gets you, who also has a voice in the room after read through.
Steve Korn.
And it was great writer and hell of a
great guy. Yeah.
So
but also, I had one against me, but I had a couple for me, and then, but it was still, things were getting killed because I didn't have everybody on my team, so it would be like half would get through, a third, and I was like, I had a dissident in there. Is that the word? And but you don't know that usually. I didn't know till later, and then you go like, fuck, it drives you batty. Like, you don't know what's going on.
No, you don't know what's going on, even to the point where I found out something else later down the line. But I think why it's so frustrating for you, Dave, people like me, Dana, I would say more comedians. The reason being, we do our presentation, we get the immediate feedback, so we know what works. So when you're when you're creating a sketch or whatever, and you know it's going to crush, and then you do the read through and it murders, and then it's not even acknowledged. We say, imagine you're going for a baseball team, and you're like, okay, everyone line up. All right, Spade, you're up. Ping! Oh shit, this guy's hit 12 line drives off the wall, 3 in the upper deck. All right, here comes another. This guy looks smart. He's got glasses where he's from Harvard. Okay, Harvard guy. Okay, that's a bunt. All right, it's a one strikeout. Caught looking. Wow, it's another one caught looking with the runners on base. Jesus. Okay, so here's what we picked. We picked out the Harvard guy. Like, what? Wait, are we going to the game? Like, are we competing today? What is going on? And so it was when you're in those battles and you see them with your own 2 eyes, you just go, oh my, there's no rhyme or reason.
Well,
and
sometimes, did you have anyone who would like you kill with that and it doesn't get on the show that was in the room with Lauren picking the show? Not even in an angry way, but like, what's up with my sketch? I mean, what was it? How is it too redundant? Host didn't like it. Was there any rhyme or reason that you could find out about?
Just I wouldn't, but what I would get. This is I'm starting to have flashbacks now. Yeah. I thought I buried this and I patted it all down, but now like.
Yes, mission accomplished.
There was this is what drove me nuts. I would get this. Hey, listen, Lauren doesn't like drunk characters. The character's really funny that you do, but he's since like John and stuff, like he doesn't nothing like drinking related. He's not into it. I went, oh, okay. 2 weeks later, very similar, but now different cast member, and they just changed the angle, made it a little smarter. And you're sitting there going, I know what the fuck you just did. They don't know. I know what the fuck you just did.
I'm getting flashbacks to Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Then I'd have this, right? This one. Oh. So you're in your room. It's like 3:30 in the morning. You're almost done with the sketch that you're finally going for. And this fucker would come in my doorway. Hey, with his little pencil in his mouth. So I see that you're doing a sketch about meatballs or whatever it was. He's like, I just want you to know I'm writing one just like it. I'm like, how do you know I'm writing a sketch? Well, we have a server with what everyone's writing. I'm like, well, he's like, I'm just telling you, I'm writing one, and most likely it'll get on.
Oh boy!
What? That's aggressive.
Okay. Okay.
So you're still going to write yours? That's what they want you to go. Oh, I'll skip it then.
Yeah, right. Like, but he's also someone that gets in the room.
Yeah, because it's going to bump with him, and he'll kick you out.
And you're like, God damn! Like that is foul. That's just foul. So yeah, there was individuals that one in particular who I would call out, and always just honest when I told you this story. And then he finally reached out on Twitter. He goes, stop lying about I'm the one who wanted to get you fired. And I went, well, it's the truth. Well, that's well. And then he finally, I said, I don't do Twitter. You can call me and we can talk about it. And he couldn't believe,
Interesting. Go ahead. Yeah.
He couldn't believe I was holding on to this long. But just like anywhere, if you're enjoying your life and someone goes, hey man, I'm going to make your life miserable and get you fired, you fucking remember that. So the person emailed me and he said, it went from, I never had any pull with Lauren. And the fact that you think I actually had any power to try to get you fired is just ludicrous. I have zero power. I go, well, it's funny because I know for a fact someone in that room called me. And they said, quote, Jim needs to go. I think he's an issue. We can get someone who's just as funny and maybe more animated, blah, 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 blah. I think he's way overrated, blah, blah, blah. And he could tell by the quote, like, oh shit. So who's he talking to? So then his next email said, well, maybe I didn't encourage them to keep you. And then I finally said who the person was. And they went, well, I'm sorry that you've been holding on to this. You're a great power. If I did that, I apologize, blah, blah, blah. And I went, that's all right. I just wanted you to acknowledge that I knew. And because this person's an incredible writer.
And it's tough. It's tough coming from somebody good too.
He's so good. I wish I could be in any of his stuff. They're incredible, and that's what was more. That's what hurt more, and that's what was more frustrating. It's like, dude, just if you don't like me, just there's other ways to do it. As long as it's funny.
There's an organic, volatile, emotionally violent thing around Saturday Night Live. It just is. You throw 10 comedians in a room, 20 writers, and there's only so many spots on the show, and all kinds of stuff happens. You create alliances. It's Game of Thrones. You start moving the chess pieces.
Survivor.
I'll get this person. Yeah. I'll combine with this person. We'll try to defeat, So it's a very typical story. I mean, the great thing is, like, you're as funny or funnier than you've ever been, and you're killing it.
I feel
got
that
a
way.
Huge following, and you're just, everybody's at some point off SNL, except for Kenan Thompson. But
he's unfireable.
Maybe the greatest cast member ever. Yeah. But we all are and it's no matter what happens, even if you're Adam Sandler or Will Ferrell, they're going to say Saturday Night Live in their movies. So it is a thing, but I think you made a great mark, and your story, you just have to forgive the whole experience.
I do.
And I know that
really
we talk to us about it right now. I have the same thing. I'll go completely back to something.
It brings me back too. You talk,
and I'll be really animated for 10 minutes and then just move on. But we're all ex-cast members. Yeah. Most people have some regret or something that didn't go. There's certain. Mm-hmm. It's just very common. So anyway, you have my empathy. That's a wicked story.
Well, I'll tell you both. Like it's I'm honored to come on here. I've always looked up to both of you. I've always looked up to the both of you. So like when I saw you guys connecting, I really like the fact that you can finally see a different side of the two of you, just a talking side, and you can go in all these directions. And I love what you guys are doing. So I was very honored to be part of this.
Appreciate
Thank you. It is the thing about podcasting, because if I go on stage, it's always fasten your comedy safety belts there. The man's coming, and now I'm just in a room chatting. I can be myself, but there is that pressure. Oh my God, he's going to fucking levitate, so it's, I mean, it's a good problem to have,
I feel like back at SNL, I was like, especially that year I stayed over, it was such a weird bridge year for me because Adam and Chris left, my two main guys. Schneider was gone. Maybe Timmy was still there, but
Tim was there.
I was only doing Lauren goes, stay and I'll give you 5 minutes a week and you do whatever you want. And so I didn't really have to do sketches. So there was a slight disconnect. So I don't even know how I came across to cast because I was so worried about doing these 5 minutes. I had my own little thing to do. It was like Update. You get your own little chunk. And so I am in the cast, but I'm not really, I don't think I did many sketches. It was more like I'd go on the road, try to do field pieces. So I come back and I didn't get that close to anybody, even though it was kind of fun. I was in the middle ground, you know what I mean?
You were.
And
you were.
It wasn't as fun for me. It probably wasn't as fun for them to be on the cast with me either, because I felt like I was a senior that stayed a year too long. And I was like, shit, what am I still doing here? And I sort of had that caustic humor, but which, changed over the years, but it was definitely a weird time for me. And I thought I shouldn't be here anymore. It wasn't as fun. It was fun doing those little bits, but there's so much time in between. I mean, I'm not really part of rehearsal. I'm not really part of music. I'm not part of, and the show's going on without me. And I'm with one writer on the side doing bits, pre-tape a lot of the time. So definitely weird. I just didn't get that close to anybody that time. It was like one step too many. I should just pull the plug. But like you, if you got nowhere to go and you're on SNL, everywhere else feels like down.
I know.
And like you're saying these stories, and the reason they resonate is because everyone isn't asking you about buddies. the pilot, they're asking about SNL the rest of your life.
That's
so
right.
they just
That's
have nothing else to say. They go, SNL. And then that's just a thing that you're stuck with.
But it's also, no matter what your time frame is, you've got two iconic things that people would always bring up. I assume if you do a Q&A or someone yells out,
for sure,
Goat Boy or Pesci, I don't know if you throw it in there when you're riffing. So you made your mark.
I like that. I call it like you went to battle and everyone got the tattoo. And no matter what, they're like, how was your career? And you go, and they go, oh shit, you made a mark. The GOAT, and wow.
Yeah. Because you to get through that and get a catchphrase or get a sketch people know, it's almost impossible. But that's what I wanted, even having bye-bye or something where people knew it and you go, hey, I went on the show, I came out, and there was something that caught on, or, you're just part of the history of like, hey, I got something in there that people would remember.
And the show is still fucking going.
And it's still going. And they're still coming up with shit.
Going full circle, when Fred Armisen left the show, he emailed me and goes, how do you deal with it? When he left and he couldn't watch it, he goes, they're doing my show. What's going on?
Yeah.
So everybody has this melancholy. If you're ever near the building again, it's like going back to your high school on a Sunday afternoon and going, really?
Yep.
There's this sort of emotionality. That's the fun part of this podcast, because everyone has these feelings about that show. Just something about it. And Lorne is still there, and it's still an 8H, and it's all the exact same. It's amazing.
Yeah, you get terrified walking on those halls.
Anyway, are you gonna have enough energy to perform tonight, or you feel good, or what are you gonna do?
I'm actually off tonight, so that's good. I got an off night, and then tomorrow I'll do the show, and and then I think I'm losing my mind. I booked, I think, 50 shows all the way through May, where I'm doing like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks on. I haven't done that.
That's tough.
You'll get sharp. And then are you going to shoot another special? You shoot that on your own, right? And put them on YouTube?
I'm filming. This is what I learned. I don't have, on YouTube. It's all YouTube. So I'm filming 3 shows next week. One is at one venue, and the other one is at that Paramount.
That'll be
hot. And we'll see how that goes.
And it's 3 cameras. I mean, you control the lighting. I mean, it's kind of like not overkill, but it's not 20 cameras and all that shit.
No. No one cares about that anymore. No one cares about that. What I noticed too is like you can hire the biggest production team and put everything in it. If you just put from your phone a little piece of the set, that's all they want to see.
It doesn't matter.
No one ever says, it looked like Scorsese. They go, no, it was funny or it wasn't.
It looked like Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
Was it funny? No, but fucking David Lean came back from the dead, man.
Well, good luck with it, man. Good luck with it, too.
All right, Jim. A pleasure. So I hope we see you around campus,
Talk
as they
to
say.
you soon, buddy.
Pleasure. Enjoyed it. Thanks, man.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Please follow, subscribe. Leave a like, a review, all this stuff. Smash that button, whatever it is, wherever you get your podcasts. Fly on the Wall is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment, and Heather Santoro. The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman.